Morning guys, how are you? Hope you're all okay. On this nice, fine and dandy, absolutely boiling hot Sunday morning. I was out all night last night. Well, I got in stupid o'clock because of work, shall we say. And went to bed, and I think I've had about an hour's kip, and I've got myself up nice and early because I want to complete this Gulf Wars build. Right, yeah, so as you can see in front of you, I've been working. You guys that have been following me will know that I've completed the Abrams for the Gulf Wars build, and I've just got to weather that. The Dio base is now completed, the diorama base is completed, and I then moved on. All the figures are completed and done. I might just add a little bit of dust even there onto the boots and that. And then I started work on the final kit, which was this in front of you, which is the Meng's 1/35th scale M3A3 Bradley with Busk 3. Now, the kit that you see in front of you is the basic kit. It's just basically what you see. There's no interior with this kit. There's nothing. I think it's the M3A3 version of this kit, which I think is red, white, and black box. I think and it's also Meng 1/35th. That is the one with the interior. However, Meng, in all of their wisdom, did this, which is the interior set for this vehicle. So this is it. You turn it into the US Cavalry fighting vehicle, not the infantry vehicle. The infantry vehicle is the other one with the interior, where you get the most of the bits and the turret interior and everything, but you get mainly the seats instead of like the tow missiles. You don't get so many of those, I don't think, in that one, and you just get a few extra seats there. And you also get, I think, on the back, where this one here, you get these I've got the bloody word for it now, sorry, stowage boxes. Whereas on the M3A3, the infantry, you've got the air conditioning units that go on the back, and you also get, I think, inside, just above where the crew sits, a couple of air conditioning, or just one air conditioning unit, I think. Best thing to do for that version, and again, I haven't researched this, I haven't had a look on the internet, so you guys that have done that version and that are subscribed to me and watching this and say, hey, hang on a minute, I've done that version, I apologise, I haven't researched, I haven't had a look on YouTube, so I don't know. But the one I do know is my good friend Craig Kerr, is just simply his channel name, Craig Kerr. He's currently, as we speak, doing the M3A3, the opposite version of this one, and he released his first video the other day, but he said that he's only going to do 1 or 2 updates basically, and the one that he's done so far is brilliant. It's about I think it's about half an hour long, 35 minutes long, and it's just he just explains it so well. But again, he's an ex-brother, isn't he? You know, so he knows his stuff. Again, anything I'm about to say about this vehicle, I do apologise. A lot of the information I'm getting out of books and stuff that I've just walked alongside the vehicle and seen myself when I've been there myself. I've never actually been in one, I've seen in one, but my sort of expertise is more along Craig's sort of line, where I'm more British, obviously, with being ex-British. So the Warrior and stuff like that I could tell you about, but other than that I can't tell you much about this vehicle. And I get also a lot of my information off this vehicle off my good friend Sergeant Bones. His YouTube channel, he don't do any videos himself, but he certainly knows his stuff, guys. So you know, if you're ever doing any vehicles, US stuff, if you try and get to message him, or I'm so certain that he'll message you, because his passion, you know, he's ex-US himself, so he knows what he's on about. So yes, right. Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed. What do I think of the kit before we start? Loved it. Meng, I've only ever built one other Meng kit, and it is this one. Again, it's a modern US infantry, and it's the MRAP, isn't it? The Cougar. Thoroughly enjoyed this kit too. There was no fit issues whatsoever. I added a couple of extra things which I thought should have been on this kit. Ignore the gun, I broke it off by mistake, and ignore that bloody window there, I broke that off by mistake. Like, I added the wiring onto the radar part there, and I also added I think is that something to do with the IED? Is that actually the IED detectors? I think, is that the blocker? Was that one or the other anyway? Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that kit too. This is the full interior. Now, you guys that follow me will know, when I'm doing a kit with the full interior, I do not like to stick it all together down, because I think you waste your money and also you waste everything that's inside. So I always leave the upper hulls off so you can have a look inside. So yeah, look, this is the Cougar. It's got full interior. Seat belts are the same as seat belts that are in this Bradley. Yeah, it's a beautiful kit. This was really nice. I didn't need any upgrades or anything. It was just beautiful. But this was my first kit with full interior. This was my first main kit too. But yeah, I absolutely adored it. So far, Meng, you're doing a good job with Steve Mottram. I can't complain to you about you at all, because you're absolutely brilliant. Your kits are. You get the odd one or two fit issues, but nothing major. There's a couple of things that Craig's picked up on in his video, which is the same on mine, the same here. On the back of some of the parts you get stupid ejector pin marks, which is a shame. But then you get the bits of flash sticking out of the ejector pin marks, but it's not a little bit, it's about a centimetre long, some of it. Again, in a way that's quite good, because when you try and get your sprue cutters down the bottom, you know, you can get to it quite easily. One thing I'd say about this kit, because a lot of the parts attached to the sprue are very, very thick. The connections are thick as anything. So what I suggest to do is, if you've got them, I always use my go-to sprue cutters, but they're very thin on the ends, which are pretty good. I don't know if you can see. They're very good thin end ones, but even better ones than them for thinner are these Tamiya ones. They're they're not the greatest, because they bend the thing, because of stuff I've, you know, bent and used, tried to cut and all that type of thing. But these really do get in thin to the parts, so if you got them, have them handy ready to use, because you will need them. But apart from that, guys, I can't say much else about the kit bad. It is excellent. No fit issues. Just like I say, the odd one here and there, which you'd expect anyway. This kit cost me £30, something like that, around that mark. Now I know that the full interior one, which Craig's doing, I know that E-models are doing it for, and have been doing it for well, ever since they've had it in, £44.99, I think, something like that. So it's by no means over the £50 mark, which again for a full interior kit is great. I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner, because you're building basically, like Craig said, a full tank, apart from the odd bits of wiring here and there and stuff like that. But again, it's got the scope that you can add all that. I'll show you in a bit. I was going to add that in, because I haven't attached the two hulls together, the lower and upper hull, so you can see the interior if you want to. So I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner by any stretch of the imagination. It's got a part missing that Craig touched on as well quite a lot, but I've touched on as well, which I did notice straight away. It says it comes with a full driver's interior as well, but I mean, if you're going to nitpick, there's just, I'd say, a major panel missing, which is right in front of the driver, and it goes over the steering wheel, the steering stick, so it's right in front of him there. You've got the panel there, but you haven't got the big major panel with a few switches on here and there, and panels and that to see. It's not a major problem. I mean, I was going to scratch build mine out of plastic card and do it that way, but to be honest, I've left it as it is. You know, there's nothing bad about it, like I say. But apart from that, guys, it really is awesome. The tracks are spot on. They're a bit tedious to start with when you're cutting them off each other, because two panels are attached to each other, two track links are attached to each other, and they've got like the bits of nibs, the plastic nibs on each side, so you have to get your sprue cutters in really thinly and cut them off and then clean them up, which they don't fit properly. But then once you do clean them up properly, there's no, like I did the M3A3 Ryefield's full Abrams with full interior. Now their track pads are like 3 bits or 4 bits to each track pad, so that's a nightmare, that is. But again, they work lovely once they're done and they're great. But these are just literally the track link. You just clip it to another and that's it, so you're well away. Kit wise, I'd definitely probably give this 9 out of 10 for myself. Again, guys, that's my opinion. Nobody else's. Nobody's influenced me, because anybody will know I love my Tamiya kits. I just really do. I love them. But however, main kits now are coming very, very highly up there for me and mine, because I do like them. Very good. A lot of the bits can be quite fragile. The only fit issue I've had is just around the turret part, really. The turret doesn't really fit the 2 bits together, but again, that's probably me not attaching things with the interior inside too well. The tow cable perhaps is attached to, and it comes, you attach it to that, but it's not like a separate wire, it's a piece of plastic, it's a piece of sprue, so you just add it onto the back. Again, if you wanted to be picky, you could do what Dragon do, or do what I do, and I know John Moore does, and a lot of others use photo frame wire, the hanging wire that you hang photos up with. That's perfect for tow cables. Or I use beading, jewellery beading wire, but it's not actually wire, it's string, but it looks like wire, and it's perfect. But again, that's really flexible because it's actually string. You have to excuse me, guys, because I'm only on my 2nd coffee of the morning. It's quite early. So yeah, okay. So I've rambled on enough now about that. Yeah, so let's have a look at the kit then, This is my finished Bradley. Let's just see if you can see it. You can. Let's get a pointy stick, shall we? Right, where shall we start? I've done it all in the sand colour, which you guys that are following me again will know that the Abrams I've done in this colour, and then I've added a few of the reactive tiles on the Abrams, the Tusk armour. I've done it in the sand colour, but the other I've done it in the NATO scheme, the main parts. I've just always wanted to do an Abrams like that. Now I was going to do all this kit in the sand colour, however I've done loads of research and all that type of thing, and I just wanted something somewhere on it that was that looked add the NATO part. So I've just done the rear armour at the front, that little bit there. I've picked out the odd tile here and there. There's one there, I don't know if you can see it, but that's that's done khaki. Now I've painted the khaki paint, which is the model colour one, 70.988 khaki, and what I've done is I've used that on the gun mantlet, the Bushmaster gun mantlet cover there, khaki, but I've also done it on top of the odd hatch and panel, just to show a bit of fading for a change, because the only pre-shading I've done on this kit was on the side here. I don't know if you can pick it out. I've just done it there with the black. I've primed it, and I went over it with the white, and then I did the edges in the black primer. I've done detail painting on the tools. It's been weathered with the same weathering as I've used on the diorama base. I've used the Vallejo Pigments 121, 73.121, which is the Desert Dust. And then I've done MIG Pigments P037, it says for itself, Gulf War sand. And then I've added the odd bit of dust, sort of stains. I've used the AK dust and dirt deposits. I've used the sand yellow on some parts, but the main parts I've done is the dust, light dust deposit, which is AK4062, and the sand is AK4061. So they're the ones I've used there. But like I say, yeah, I love the kit. The tracks I've actually done in rust, because a lot of the tracks I've seen on this are rusted on the outside where the pins and the metal are, and of course the pads are done in the black because it's very sandy, and I wanted it to be. I was eventually going to I was just going to do a basically very clean tank, but because my diorama is going to be soldiers at rest, and just having a chat and reloading, I've now, which I'll show you in a minute, I've now changed some of the angles of where I'm going to put the figures, and I'm now doing it as though the Bradley crew are actually reloading the missiles at the side, the tow missiles, because this hatch here, you'd have two crew members in the back here, and they'd be spotters like that go out and do a bit of spotting and whatever else, and they run back in and radio through and get you know, the back up there and whatever else. So I've left that hatch so that can open. I'm going to have a figure coming out here, and also a figure kneeling on the side here. So I'll show you actually, because I've got them here. So I'm going to have this chap here, if you can see all this, I'm hoping you can. He's going to be sort of standing here. Now bear in mind, if they fall over, guys, then I apologise, but you know, I don't really care at this moment in time. So the turret's going to be tilted slightly. Again, he did fit in perfect earlier, which of course, because I want him to be on camera. So he's going to stand like that, and then he's going to have this chap here, who's kneeling guy. He is going to be sort of, this hatch is going to be up a bit more. He's going to be sort of sitting, or sort of, just know he's not going to stand now, don't you? Because I want him to. Sort of kneeling like this here. Right, again, it's not going to be like that properly because he's going to be better. There's a toe, one of these there's two that should actually be in here. But what I'm doing is I'm going to actually put this here as though they're getting ready to load it into there. Now this is from the Master Box figures set that everybody seems to be using, and he should be holding his helmet. Now what I'm actually going to do is he's standing this other toe up ready, and he's going to be standing here as though he's standing ready for them to load that one and then pass it through. And then the other crew member, which is this chappy here, he's going to actually be positioned here in the hatch somehow, like that, so he's leaning over talking, seeing what they're doing. I'm going to have the driver's hatch up just slightly, because the driver's hatch on these, Craig's told me, which I didn't realise, they actually only opened about 45 degrees, but I've actually made it now so it can open full way. So it's going to be like that, open, so obviously anybody that's looking around doesn't necessarily have to, you know. I'm going to actually stick these to the kit with a bit of white glue. I'm going to use the micro crystal clear. Now I have actually used this stuff while I've been painting this, like on the M3A3 here and on these bits here, which have got the sort of glass in, and of course the spraying and that, I didn't want it to go over the glass, so I just basically left the glass out and painted it all. And same with the armoured glass here for the commander. I've left all that glass off until about 2 minutes ago, and I've stuck it in, but I actually stuck the parts with this because I could obviously flick it off a lot easier. So that's going to be done for that. So let's remove these figures, but that's just going to be like that there. Now one thing I did do, that every single video I've seen on YouTube with this kit or a Bradley has never ever done this. And one thing I could always remember when I was there and I served and I could see these guys passing was, let me just put you on pause a minute while I attach it because I'll probably end up breaking some parts. Won't be a sec, guys. Right guys, I'm back. You noticed, any of you guys have noticed already? This is what I've actually attached. Is this here. It's basically, what it was done for is, number one, it was done for a sunshade for the commander and the loader on the top. That should be actually in there, and this bit over the back. But also as well, it acted as a shield in a way for the two crew members for snipers. So the snipers couldn't pick them off that easily, and of course at the front here you'd have the armour anyway, so that could protect them. But also from behind as well. Okay, you got the hatches up and that, but it also, you know, deterred against the snipers as well, so they couldn't see properly. So that's but I've never seen any kit built with one of these on, so I thought I'll add that, just, you know, so I can remove it if I want to, or I can add it on if needs be. And it's just, I don't know, I personally think it's a bit of a nice touch, something different, you know. Like I say, I haven't seen one with it on yet, and I just thought it's quite a nice little device. There's an aerial that's supposed to go on the back here as well. I've left that off for now just so I could show you I keep saying going to say suicide nets, but that's what they used to have across the balcony wings in the HMPs, the prisons, to stop the prisoners throwing themselves over, or screws throwing the prisoners over. No, I'm kidding, I didn't say that. Yeah, so but yeah, sorry. So yeah, I've left that off for now, but there will be another aerial added onto there. I've also added on here, I don't know if you guys can see, but I've also added on just a little message there that sometimes you find written on these. It says "For you, Saddam," which is basically the for the toes. Now I'm going to take a chance here. Yes, look at that, everything intact. How good's that? Right, so yeah, as I've said, I've done it so you can actually see and take everything off. I've added onto here chipping. I've chipped a little bit on the interior. Now a lot of these vehicles weren't chipped because of obviously the environment and the colour of the vehicle anyway. They probably were chipped, but because of all the dust over them and sand, you couldn't really see it that much. But on the interior, I've chipped it a bit here. I don't know if you can see all that well, but I have chipped it. What I've done is I've used the interior colour. I've used the main the Valeos, which I've shown in my previous video, which is that one. And then for the chipping, I've used the same colour, but the mid colour, which is slightly darker, or lighter, I think it is, slightly lighter, and just basically use the chipping for that, and it's worked a treat. It looks really good. When you look closely, it looks great, but because of obviously the light, you can't really see that well. The interior's got all the you know, the insides and all that type of thing, so I know you probably won't be able to see, but yeah, I don't know if you can see it that way. No, you can't really see. But yes, that's that. I've added a bit of oil and everything on the sides here, because let's just put this back down there. On the obviously in the thing where the turret goes, it would be really really oiled and everything, so it would greased up so it could turn easily and that. So I've done that. I've added a few little bits of where the petrol caps are, bits of streaking there of the oil and everything. And here, somebody asked me how I do this on a previous video, because it does, I think personally, it does look quite effective. Basically what I do is I get the oil paint, which is one of the MIG Abteilung ones, which is smoke, and I dab it around there, and then I use just a black pigment and just dab it onto the oil so it doesn't look too shiny, as not, you know, near enough there, not all the way, so obviously it would still be a bit greasy. And then I just smudge it out, because obviously there's smoke and everything as it be driving along, you know, it'd be going up. I've also stained the turret slightly, which I'll show you. The driver's hatch opens, and then of course you've got the back ramp, and there of course you can see on the interior. Again, I've dusted all this and sanded all that up. I've left this hatch open for something visual, for a change, something different. I'm going to add like a first aid box and some little bits into there. I've chipped that brick there just to add some different sort of visual effects for it there, which is a bit different. But yeah, and of course I have actually done the underneath as well, which is all pigmented and sanded off, so that's all done ready. Okay, and then, sorry guys, you just have to excuse me a sec while I just wipe my hands because it's got all the pigments everywhere. And then of course just dry them. I've done it so again, like I said, you can just, with a bit of, he says, just take it off nice and easily. So again, underneath you've got the for some reason these have got brass buttons there. The button, the you know, the bolts are brass. The fire extinguishers have chipped as well. The screens, they've got the actual stickers on, so you know, the decals, so they look like the screens are properly. The seat belts are done. Craig did mention he didn't want to use CA glue to attach these in case it melted them, which is very wise actually. But to be fair, I took a chance and it works perfect. Craig, if you're watching this, you can actually attach them with CA glue. The CA glue I use just in case you do use one and it melts it or something. I always use these Deluxe Materials ones. They could do it with different seconds of bonding and all that, so I always use them as my go-to ones without fail. So yeah, the interior, you've got your toe all there. The engine's all done. I've sort of I'm gonna get my hands dirty again here. I've streaked it with the the MIG ammo engine set, which is like the weathering materials, you know, the oil and engine grime and that. You can see in the bottom of the turret there, I've oiled it all up so it looks, you know, once you take it out, more realistic. I've chipped different parts, but you can't really see it that much. The blue's gone in. I've not painted every single pipe that it says silver. I've left a few different colours because of course spare parts come in and okay, they're different things. There's oil canisters and water canisters, whatever they are, that go into there. I haven't put them in yet because I've still got to do all the stowage. I've added the sand and all the grit and everything into the bottoms of it, so it's all in and dried pigments and that. So yeah, all in all, I am actually quite happy with this. It's probably one of the only kits I've done in a long time that I'm actually quite happy with. The guys of you that are going to be doing this kit in the future, when you're adding the wheels onto this after you've painted it and done your whatever you want to do behind the wheels, be extremely careful. I've already messaged Craig to let him know because this is the part he's got next. I've snapped a couple of the wheels off here because they're so thin, the arms are, and the brackets, that I've just literally, I didn't even full whack, I just pushed the odd couple on and they just snapped on me, so you've got to be so deadly careful with them, it's untrue. Better look at the tracks there and the pads. You can't see the rusting now that well because of all the sand, but you know, I'm not really bothered about that. I'm actually quite chuffed how that's come out at the bottom. It doesn't look too bad, that. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's that bit of the kit done. So yeah, all in all, guys, I'm very, very happy with it. I'm now looking forward to the more tedious. I was thinking that the most tedious job is going to be doing the figures. But to be honest, I've loved doing them figures because I've done, as I said when I did that update, I did them bits and bobs at a time. So I didn't do them all at once, so I got bored of them, and that's why I think I've enjoyed this a lot more. On the kit, it gives you the option to actually have the hatch here for the engine open, so you could have a diorama bit where you've got them looking at the engine and fixing it something. But I haven't done that. I've attached it down because I knew that I wasn't going to attach it properly. Bees sent me ages ago this stowage part. I'm still playing with the idea whether I'm going to have it. It's actually for the Warrior, but it fits perfect on here, and it's going to be attached there. I sprayed it last night. It's resin. So what I'm going to actually do is probably about there, I think, and then add it to that tow hook, and then perhaps add a bit of string to that one as well, so it looks. What's it? I don't know. It just adds a bit more difference to it, doesn't it? I suppose. I don't know yet. Tell me what you think, guys, on the comments if you think it should be on. Then yeah, if not, then it's going to be a big tedious job trying to paint everything inside and then do the strings after. But you know, I'm either going to dry brush the strings, or I think I'm just going to paint them, you know, cocktail sticky or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, next job is of course all the bits of stowage, which is this is the Abrams stowage. Some more bits of stowage there from these of the rocket launchers and ammo things that he sent me, and then of course I've got the stowage for the Bradley, and there's some Abrams stuff in there. One thing I didn't show you last time, guys, which is I'm really pleased with, it's come out really well, let me see if I can get them without breaking them, is the guns. I don't know if you can remember me telling you, a lot of the figures came without any weapons, and if the weapons were there, like with the MiG Productions Navy SEAL I've got, his weapon was the old M16 Vietnam sort of war era machine gun that the Americans used. But on this one, so I bought some extra assault, I think they're assault or maim, maim they were called, white metal guns, M16s they were and stuff. But that's them there. I really thought I feel like I've done quite a good job on them as well, especially this one, which is I've done it like the brownie colour. It's completely different. Dry brushed them again, and I don't know. I just seem to have with this project so far, everything I've tried, technique wise and other stuff, seems to have come off and worked. One of these M16s, I don't know if you guys, the more observant of you will have noticed that I haven't put any sort of straps on them. I've never done straps before for guns. I think I am going to have a go at them because I think we're doing such a so detailed job on the other bits. I think I should do it on these really. But what I'm going to do is on here, or the Abrams, I'm actually going to have. I saw a research picture of one where it's stuck actually on this side here of the turret. But I'm actually going to have one attached here, I think, because if you think about it, he's only got this one gun here. If like insurgents come over or get past, whatever. So I know he's got his handguns and everything. Like these crew have got the handguns on the sides, attached to the vests, and there's a couple of that have got around here. So I know they've got them. But I have seen research pictures of like the machine guns being stuck there as well. But again, this is going to be like them resting anyway, so there's not a major problem with the guns being around. But I just quite like that little touch. I think it's makes it look a bit more realistic, I think. I don't know. That's it. I've rusted some bits of barbed wire. I'm going to have them like over by the like little bits like this here. Or there's a few research pictures of them stuck on there and here. But what I believe is they were actually mainly for night time or for when they're parked up, all ready just to be resting or whatever else. And I think what they were for is to be put round the sort of barrier or something, so it's sort of detected at night, people trespassers or whatever, coming close or whatever. I don't know. That was the gist I got from them anyway. I'm sure Sarge will pipe up and tell me I'm completely wrong, or Craig will tell me something different. But yeah, all in all, guys, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sorry I've rambled on a bit, but I've felt that this kit deserves to be rambled on a bit about it, really. There's not many decals for it. That's why I've added that little bit on the side, a little bit of a message there. But yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed the kit, guys. I recommend it to anybody, apart from obviously if you're just starting out. Perhaps I wouldn't do it if I'm just starting out, because it is very difficult, because like Craig says, and I agree with him, you are building literally a full tank, really. So, but yeah, all in all, it's a great kit. I've quite enjoyed it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. No, there's nothing really. Yeah, so hopefully in the next day I'm going to get the Abrams done, all weathered up, which I'm probably going to do in a minute, and then I've got to paint the stowage, and then that's it, it's all job done. And then I shall post up extra bits. I think my next update may well be it all finished off, I think. I'm not sure yet. I might do another quick video of the Abrams when that's all weathered up, I think. I'm not sure, but it won't be much, because again, the Abrams, you can barely tell any chipping on it because of the environment, because of all the dust and everything. In a way, it's quite an easy little job to sort of have for this project, because you don't have to sort of weather everything up that bad. You're chipping and that because you can weather it up, But anyway, right guys, hope you're all well, hope you all stay safe. I love your builds at the minute. I'm checking them out every single day on YouTube. I'm loving it, it's great to do. But yeah, hope you're all still enjoying it, hope you all stay well, and may the force be with you guys.